Greetings and welcome to a Prayerful Pause. I'm Nancy Woodworth-Hill, a spiritual director and companion. Today we continue and conclude my series on forgiveness. So this is the 10th and final segment. We're going to be looking at the second of two procedures for gaining the inner freedom that forgiveness brings. Both are the work of the Rev Dr Rob Foyle, to whom I am greatly appreciative for his ministry and mentorship. I have witnessed him engaging these procedures for which the individual does not need to name aloud the harm done. Decades of resentment and hurt have been consigned to the past by the time he's finished, allowing inner freedom, and I have used this process myself. So this is the 10th segment. There's the first 8 contain information that's the basis for this procedure. And you may find these videos on both Lawrenceville Parish Church's Facebook page and YouTube site. I would encourage you to engage them as they provide valuable information about forgiveness. Please note that this process is independent from the person being forgiven. It's unnecessary to involve this person, and it's possible that further injury may occur in a conversation with this person. So you are invited to engage this procedure as I speak it slowly, and if I'm going too fast, do use the pause function and return when you are ready. If you're leading a person through this process, you do not need to know who is being forgiven or what was done. So we're going to begin by establishing a loving foundation for forgiving. Take a moment and remember, so put yourself together again, yourself in the midst of unconditional love. There's nothing that you have done or will do, or anything anyone has done or will do to you that can separate you from unconditional love. Rest for a moment in this love, and from this foundation of love, proceed with the following steps. I invite you to identify a current demand in your resentment of whoever it was that hurt you. Recollect what happened that led to your resentment. Now play the story over in your mind without dwelling on any aspect in particular. As you do, identify the demand you have today about what the person should or shouldn't have done in the past. We're going to transform that demand into a preference. What would you have preferred to have happened? What can you learn from the event? What would you prefer to do in the future if you're confronted with a similar situation? Do you want to keep that preference in the future? Does your preference represent a value that you want to keep? Can you imagine yourself engaging that value? Now we're going to seek and satisfy objections for forgiving. Does any part of you at all object to setting the person free from your preference and surrendering them into unconditional love to take responsibility for their life, free from your demands and manipulations? It's really important to find all the objections that you have and to work with them, which we went over, I believe it was the 4th segment. It's important to take the time necessary. Are they safety objections? Are they justice objections? So in your imagination, once the objections have done, release the person from your demand. So and so. I would have preferred that you would have, fill in the blank, and now I release you from my demand that in the past you would have or shouldn't have, fill in the blank. I would have preferred that you would have, and now I release you from my demand in the past that you would have or shouldn't have. Imagine yourself in the future, seeking situations where you can live out your values as preferences. Now, we're going to extend unconditional love. Return to your awareness of unconditional love. Allow it to surround you and uphold you. Be aware that this unconditional love extends out to and also surrounds the person you have forgiven. Wish them well, without defining what well should be. You do not need to continue to pray for them. Return to your awareness of unconditional love and see it flowing through you out into your future. Once you've done this, we're going to assess the outcome, see how things are. Recall the person and see if you can still feel the resentment that you began with, or the distress. If so, check for additional objections and satisfy them. And then repeat the steps here. If you continue to feel the resentment, use the process offered earlier in this series when we talked about resentment. Now I invite you to place yourself in the ocean, the meadow, whatever works for you, of God's love. And this concludes my series on forgiveness. May you be richly blessed with the ability to come to inner freedom, living into your future unhindered by your past.